that ride home was one of the worst car rides ever because it was just silent because my dad was the coach of all these kids and I'm supposed to be the example, and I just got tossed from the game for throwing my bat. So there was a lot of times like that I would do some stupid stuff like that as a kid. And eventually I think the back injury kind of helped me because I was just happy to be on the field after that. And I was like, man, why do I let this stuff eat at me so much? And I went from a hothead getting thrown out of games when I was little to winning sportsmanship awards. So I didn't start very well as a mental kind of guy, but I've grown into it. And I don't think that I would have been close to earning the opportunities that I have earned if it wasn't for my shift in mentality.
We're joined by Hutch Crociata, a baseball player at Capital University, a high school state champion, a content creator. We're talking about his heart and hustle approach, overcoming injury, his mental game, and being a late bloomer. But first, take me back to this game against Moeller High School, where there's a little tension between you and the third baseman, and you end up earning the nickname Team Bunter.
Going into this game, we already played them earlier in the year, and there was a little tension there because it went into 10 innings at Prasco Park in front of like 5,000 people. We go to 10 innings. We have this whole back and forth game, and it leads into the playoffs. So there's a lot on the line here, and we're already up 1-0. It was the beginning of the inning, and Coach Bly comes up to me, and he's like, Crow, don't be afraid to use your drag here. I step into the box against Zion Theophilus, a now pitcher at LSU, and there's a little tension between him and our team. So I end up laying the bunt down. He picks it up, throws it into right field. I wheel my way all the way around. People thought I was going to stop at second, but I wanted third, so I kept going. Slid into third base, and I was clearly on the base, and the third baseman comes up and just starts holding a tag on me for no reason. He just kept holding it there, and I'm like, keep holding that tag, boy. And he looks at me and he goes, I will. Shut up, bro. You're just the team bunter. And I was like, all right, well, if that's how we're doing it. And that's kind of like how the nickname came. And my whole entire team just called me the team bunter from there on out. I already knew that I was the team bunter because that was my way of getting on the field. Like, I needed a guy to help move runners because I was surrounded by such great, talented players that I was willing to do that. So I already knew that I was the team bunter, but he solidified that. But in the moment and in the game, it was enemies, bro. Like, it was real.
One of the biggest challenges on your journey was a back injury that kept you out for 6 months. What was that experience like?
The back injury actually started freshman year. I didn't play at all freshman year because of it. I injured it during basketball, and it was a herniated disc. So I sat out the whole freshman season, did PT for about 9 months, and eventually slowly worked my way back to playing. And I eventually was better. I trained so hard that the injury actually came back a week into the season. So the whole season that I explained to you where the bunt triple happened, I was playing hurt. And at the beginning of the year, it just went down again. So I was out for like a month. And one day in physical therapy hit, and I was like, I got to get out there. Like, team's too good. I got to thug it out. I got to play through it. So I played through it. My coach sent me down to JV for a rehab start. Right before the last inning started, we were down by 1, and I look at my coach. I'm like, Coach, I know I'm down here for reps, but I don't give a fuck about reps. I just want to win this game. And then I went up to the plate, hit a double, scored the tying run. We won the game. And then after that, I got my first varsity start, I think, because of that game. And from there on out, I started every game since on varsity. I went from a hurt guy that was told that he would swing JV to starting every single game and starting the state championship game in the same season.
It's a crazy journey, and we're going to circle back to more of that in just a second. With the injury, what are some of the biggest lessons you learned having to sit out and working your way back?
So one of the biggest things that the injury did for me was I actually learned all the content creation skills that I have. Freshman year, I didn't really have much to edit, so I made like a TikTok editing account, and I would post Michigan sports highlights, Detroit Tigers sports highlights, just because I had nothing to do. And I was in the trainer's room, just icing my back. So I learned how to edit there. And then junior year, for the first month of the season when I was hurt, I actually had my phone and a camera, and I would record like the games, and I would make edits for our high school baseball team's Instagram account while being hurt on the bench. I would support the team, and I would also make videos for them because I didn't want to just sit there and be sad. So it was kind of a blessing in disguise. I wanted to be like a helping hand wherever I could be. I didn't want to be sad. I wanted to just help out wherever I can. From the actual injury standpoint, one of the biggest lessons I learned was don't mask pain with medicine. Pain is like a good thing and it tells you what you can and can't do. So if you listen to your body, it'll tell you what you should and shouldn't be doing.
Great advice to anyone dealing with, man, even little nagging injuries, to be aware of what your body's trying to tell you because it is trying to tell you something. You said you were a late bloomer and you were undersized. How does that contribute to your heart and hustle approach?
Honestly, being a late bloomer and being smaller helped me like learn how to handle the bat well. Putting the ball in play and situational hitting, like those are things that I grew up having to know to get in the lineup. If I was like a little guy trying to hit for power, it just wouldn't work. My story went from bunts to bombs. Literally senior year, I hit my first home run of my career. So I think being a late bloomer really taught me the intangibles and the fundamentals before the power came.
I like you're saying, though, bunts to bombs. That's nice and catchy. What was it like to win a state championship?
Honestly, that season was such a total culmination of everything that I've been working towards in my life. It was unreal. From battling a back injury to getting on the field to actually performing in the games. I feel like I was dealing with so much pain during the season and so much pressure to just get on the field. Like I was literally scratching and clawing to get in the lineup every day. I was still on the fence. Like, I hope I play today. I will do anything to get in the lineup. From scratching and clawing to get healthy to scratching and clawing to just get in the lineup, actually being there, it kind of felt like the easy part. Once I earned my way onto the field, it was like, man, all right, let's just have fun. Let's lock in. Let's do what I need to do. Like whatever coach needs, like I'll do it. Like give me the bunt sign. I don't care. Let's go. Actually being on the field was euphoric. The whole entire way, I was just locked in and I was kind of like blacked out, like on the field. Like I don't really remember individual moments as much, which is why like so awesome to look back at videos. But it was euphoric. Like I was honestly just happy to be there. I'm just happy to be on this team. And sometimes I look back at the lineup card and I'm like, I don't know how I was in the lineup, bro. Yeah. It was awesome.
And I'm sure the energy that you brought and just the good vibes that you seem to bring to whatever team that you're on helped out a ton. Hey, quick pause. If this conversation is providing you value, please take literally 5 seconds and hit that follow or subscribe button on your app. This is the best way to make sure that you don't miss any value from future episodes. Now back to the conversation. So you end up going to Capital University. Walk us through your recruiting process.
After the state tournament, they reached out to me at the end of the season. And so my head coach at high school, Kurt Bly, actually went to Capital and played baseball there. And my summer coach, Ryan Henney, also played baseball at Capital. It was a mix of the two. It was in Columbus. It was in a city. It was kind of like the best of both worlds. So that was like the leading option for me. And I got different offers here and there, some JUCOs, some D2s, but I ultimately wanted to go somewhere where I would have a chance to see the field early. Also, Capital's in the city, and maybe I go pro, maybe I don't, but I want to set up myself to where if baseball doesn't work out, I am still connected to a city, have opportunities for jobs and internships, and being in Columbus was a no-brainer for me because I'm a marketing major. And actually, I wasn't so sure I was going to keep playing baseball. When the season was going on, I wasn't committed or anything. I didn't commit to Capital until June after my senior year. Because that last game, when we got knocked out in the regional final, I was like, man, I do not want that to be my last game. I worked so hard for this my whole life just to stop now. I was actually going to go to Miami University. And then last minute, I used Coach Bly and Coach Henney to reach out back to Capital. And Coach Manahan at Capital was like, a little birdie named Kurt told me that you're interested in playing again, and we'd love to have you. So it's kind of a no-brainer to go to Capital from there.
That's a cool journey. And last minute, definitely. What's the adjustment been like physically and mentally, high school to college for you?
More similar than I thought it was going to be, but it is definitely more self-paced, I would say. The adjustment, definitely living on my own, cook for myself, figure out what I'm going to eat. I've started tracking my macros and stuff just to stay on top of things. It's very similar in terms of like the things that we do, but the pressure I would say is different. You're surrounded by grown men. Our shortstop is 23 years old and he's on the same team as me. And we're buddies. I joke about it all the time. Everyone calls him Unk. And it's definitely been a mental adjustment. But at the end of the day, baseball is baseball. You grew up playing it. You know how to hit. You know how to throw. It's the same thing. You just got to get that mental growing up out of the way first.
Yeah, part of that, you said growing up you were a hothead. So what frustrated you most?
I have A lot of funny stories about growing up being a hothead. My dad was my baseball coach when I was younger growing up. He always like tried to drill into me, like, control what you can control. Don't worry about what happens. Just remember your process. And that didn't really stick to me until I was probably 14 or 15. When I was 10, I got thrown out of a baseball game like twice, and my dad was the coach. I struck out and I threw my bat at the side of the dugout on my way back to the dugout. And the umpire heard it and he was like, "Oh, you're throwing, yeah, you're done. You're done." Because I probably said something earlier to him. And I got thrown out of the game. And my dad made me run poles for the entire rest of the game around the fence, probably 45 minutes straight as the game was finishing up. And that ride home was one of the worst car rides ever because it was just silent because my dad was the coach of all these kids and I'm supposed to be the example. And I just got tossed from the game for throwing my bat. So there was a lot of times like that I would do some stupid stuff like that as a kid. And eventually, I think the back injury kind of helped me because I was just happy to be on the field after that. And I was like, man, why do I let this stuff eat at me so much? And I went from a hothead getting thrown out of games when I was little to winning sportsmanship. I won sportsmanship awards, perseverance awards for my high school. So I didn't start very well as a mental kind of guy, but I've grown into it. And I don't think that I would have been close to earning the opportunities that I have earned if it wasn't for my shift in mentality.
And now you share your journey. You create content about being a college baseball player. What's the inspiration behind the content?
I try to envision myself as a little kid, and I try to be someone that little Hutch would follow and little Hutch would try to emulate. I follow guys that are older than me, like pros, and I try to be like, what do I look for in them? I just try to inspire the younger generation because I just love helping out little kids. It's awesome to share my knowledge, work so hard for the knowledge, might as well help kids out, and so make their careers a little easier.
It's awesome. Hutch, the idea of simple wins is not only the scoreboard. What does simple wins mean to you?
Controlling what you can control. My dad and my high school coach used to say, control what you can control and let the rest happen. I can control the time I wake up. I can control the time I get there. I can control how hard I prepare. I can't control the big outcome. I can't control the big win. I can control the simple wins that lead me to the places that can get me there. Every simple win in the cage, batting practice in front of the coaches, earned my spot in the lineup. The simple wins of like lifting every day, like earned my physique that I have now. The simple win of waking up early for lifting, and the discipline I have now. The simple win of striking out and just holding your tongue earned the sportsmanship awards I have now. It's kind of just control what you can control in the moment, and eventually it'll lead to something bigger.
Hutch, you have a great desire to give back and help others and a really good heart in wanting to serve the younger generation. Where can people find you?
They can find me on TikTok at Hutch Crociata. They can find me on YouTube at Hutch Crociata as well, and on Instagram at Hutch Cro Hits. I post when something jogs my mind and I'm like, man, I want to share this, and they can find me over there. And if they have any questions, I love it when younger players DM me, help them out a little bit. I love doing that kind of stuff. So find me over there, reach out.
I have one final question for you. Who else would benefit from listening to this conversation? If you have someone in mind, go ahead and share the episode with them right now. If you don't think of anyone immediately, go ahead and leave us a review on whatever platform you're on so people just like you can find the episode. Thank you for your time. Stay strong.